Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, March 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And if you're into Bitcoin, definitely stick around to the end because I will do a bonus chart for that. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candle you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, NYCB. And this one has been an absolute monster as it's had a lot of in the news headlines. And all of that. Yesterday halted, huge move up. And today things started to settle down a little bit. So maybe this will be my last video on this one for a while if it stays in such a tight little range. But nonetheless, I still did want to focus on it now that we seem to have things settled down a little bit and really have two main levels that I think most people will be watching. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So the first level that you got to think, a lot of people are probably watching, going to be that pink line up there, 200 period moving average, very famous area as a level of resistance. So if the price can go up there and get the break of it, that, of course, there's no guarantees, but in my opinion, it's more than plausible and logical to think that a break of that area could lead to more buying pressure and so on. On the flip side of things, as far as key levels of support, that's where I would say keep an eye on that purple line down there, the 50 period moving average. So in all actuality, looking like this thing has a very realistic chance to potentially just enter into some sideways channel here where it just kind of chops around between these two levels. But that still does lead to the ultimate overall question of, well, who's ultimately going to win out? Are the bears going to win with the break to the downside, or are the bulls going to win with the break to the upside? That is the main dynamic here to keep an eye on. But yeah, overall, keep an eye on those two levels. And essentially, if you were to push me in a corner and say, summarize this quickly, I'd say sideways channel pattern. Next one, ticker symbol RIVN. Huge movement this afternoon. As you can see here, volume came pouring in. Price reacted very nicely with it. And now we're sitting at a very interesting situation here as we head into Friday. So nothing fancy here in terms of, let me just offer up a little context. You can see that been a while since the price has been up this high. But in the very near term, as far as areas of resistance are concerned, nothing fancy here other than just asking the question, where the party finally stopped today? And that was right up there at that level of $12.75. And as I speak, and like I said, this is why I like to do when the markets are open, you can see the price is still making a move. Market closes in 15 minutes. So it's still got 15 minutes to get up through $12.75. So if you're watching this video, which will be after the market closes, and you're saying, well, Clay, actually the price closed above $12.75, well, then you get to ask yourself the different question. That question being, okay, it's broken out. Is that breakout the start of something even bigger? Very exciting question to be asking. Right now, the question is, can the price break out? And then if that occurs, then yes, you transition to that next question of, is it the start of something even bigger? But that's really, in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic here. Very nice last 30 minutes. It's approaching $12.75. Can it break? And if it does break, is it the start of an even bigger breakout? Let's see what happens on Friday. Next one, SOUN, have ourselves a good classic technical pattern here. So going back to that whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, a lot of people watching the same levels and wondering the same things. While it guarantees nothing, certainly makes it more than valid and plausible that any sort of breakout of this pattern could create additional buying pressure. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. We have our support, or excuse me, we have our resistance, and there we go. Now I'm drawing the support there. And then maybe make this easier to see. Let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move up right there. This would be called a bull flag pattern. So as I've said, nothing's guaranteed, but is it valid to think that the price can curl back upwards, get to the top of the pattern, and get the break up through it, that break could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a more than plausible outcome. So if you like this price range down below $10, you like bull flags, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, LYT, and this one has been a very eventful day today. Got a bit of a bigger pullback here, but in all actuality, once again, just essentially has an overall pattern. And that's one of those trend lines where you got to think a lot of people have drawn that level. So once again, have that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecy. So if the price can come up there and get the break up through it, then yeah, that could very realistically create additional buying pressure. In terms of areas of support, we have this support trend line right there. So let me change that to green. And then just because I can't help myself, let's keep it all one color for the pattern's sake. So resistance, support, big move up right there. This one's a little different, not quite a flag pattern, what you would call a pennant. So to make a little visual for you golfers, let me put the golf hole down here, and you can see the pennant right there. So in this situation, if you like bull pennants, then definitely keep an eye on LYT for Friday. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC. And overall, good solid day today. Now that is a little bit of perspective. If you're some sort of day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, let me zoom this out here a little bit more. You can see that over the past several days, these lows keep getting higher and higher. These highs keep getting higher and higher. And that's what's allowing this overall uptrend to be built. So assuming you care about this from the bigger picture point of view, then today was still healthy. Put in the higher high, got the higher low. Of course, had the price been able to maintain itself and stay up around that area, that would have looked a lot better, but that doesn't take away from the fact that overall the chart's still fine. And I'm emphasizing overall because I fully understand that the day trader that bought right there would completely disagree that this is a good looking chart. But it is always a matter of perspective. So moving forward, really, as long as the price stays above that purple line there, 50-period moving average as a line, because that is key where they're being moving. So as that line moves itself higher and higher, as long as the price stays above it, then the overall trend by default remains in the bull's favor. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering. So if you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for it. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page. Now, one special note, it is a genuine live event. So maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening. Maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you completely missed it. Go ahead, send me an email, and I would be happy to send you a link to the replay after it gets completed, because it is live, so it's first got to happen. And then, like I said, I'd be more than happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then go get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one, ticker symbol PLTR, and I'm going to go through this one relatively quickly because you've already heard me talk about these, but we have ourselves another good solid pattern here. And PLTR, very, very popular stock. So one of those situations where you got to think a lot of people are watching it, which just, brings about those whole potential self-fulfilling prophecies that much more, possible. So we have our resistance, we have our support, have the big move up right here. Another bull flag, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. No need to get into a fist fight over, semantics. But point here being is there's been a big surge, a little bit of a pullback here. So does it continue up on Friday or early next week? Worth at least keeping an eye on if you like this price range. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and we got a very big event today as far as the technical chart is concerned, and that is the price breaking up through that area of resistance right there. So got the break, continue to move upwards, but now we get to ask ourselves the question, okay, is this the breakout, the start of something even bigger? Now think about the question. It makes no sense to ask that question if nothing worthwhile has even happened, because you can't say, is this the start? Well, nothing has started. But in this situation, we do have the start. We got the breakout. So yeah, is this breakout going to lead to even more strength? Certainly a valid scenario to throw out there, an exciting question to ask. If there is going to be some more partying, then the price has got to get through that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. It is bearing down on it. And while that doesn't mean it's impossible to break through, I'm just saying that, yes, this trend line break is great, but there's still a big bit of work that needs to be done with that first bit being that 50-period moving average. I will go ahead and get rid of that as it served its purpose for now. In terms of areas of support, nothing new here, still down there at 173.50 as a very, very important level. But yeah, no doubt about today. Got some nice upwards movement, got that trend line break. So is this all the start of something bigger? Grab your popcorn for Friday. Next one, IMRN, and overall big mover today and have some pretty well-defined levels. So the first key level that I think, in my opinion, is the main area of resistance right up there at $5.30. Now, I realize the price technically went up that high, but in my opinion, at least, if the price can come up here, and here's the key thing, get a high volume break. So a high volume break of that level, I think has, of course, it guarantees nothing, but gives it a great chance of not only going up to these highs, but then pushing up through them. So in my opinion, 530 is going to be that main area of resistance, again, that you would want to see with a high volume break. In terms of levels of support, you have a trend line right there that you can put into play there and keep an eye on that. So if you like to play more so pullbacks, then, does it come down there and make the bounce and then maybe pull back and do something like that? Only time will tell us in that regard. But from a technical standpoint, I think these levels make the most sense to keep an eye on. Next one, BREA, and we have ourselves another one of these, if you want to call it self-fulfilling prophecy type movements, where you can see up at 238, once, twice, 3 times the price got in that general area. So you got to think everybody and their brother's uncle is watching this, which guarantees nothing. But if the price can come up here and push up through there, does that break cause breakout players to start buying, which causes momentum traders to start buying? Yeah, that is certainly a plausible scenario. So in my opinion, at least, BREA is really as straightforward and simple as that. All eyes on 238 headed into Friday. We'll see what happens with it. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up, and it makes it a very popular ETF. And right now, once again, we have one of those grab your popcorn moments because the price right now as I speak, very nice last 30 minutes, good solid green candle. In fact, there is a little bit of a miniature bull flag pattern that had formed. And, depending on how, you could argue that it's already broken out or it's knocking on the door, breaking out of that bull flag. But that's besides the point, because the main point is all eyes going to be watching 63.50. That is a former area of high where the momentum stopped last time. So if the price can make the push upwards, is it going to be able to break through that level? Another one of those levels where a lot of people will be watching. And overall today, very, very healthy move. In fact, as you can see here, it just continues to put in these higher highs and higher lows. So stair steps moving in the upwards direction, and that's ultimately what it's all about. It'd be great if something can go straight up, but that's not normally how things go. You're going to have those pullbacks, but as long as the pullbacks put in higher bases, that's what matters. So yes, grab your popcorn, grab your Sour Patch Kids for $63.50. Does it break on Friday? We'll see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks here, and I'll get to Bitcoin in just a second. But like I said, if you enjoyed what you saw here, then definitely go get signed up for that free live webinar. It'll be this evening, Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But if you can't make it live for whatever reason, then definitely go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. Now let's talk some Bitcoin. The first clarification here is we are no longer looking at the 30-minute time frame. We are looking at the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours. And really kind of just what we've been talking about, one of those grab your popcorn moments, because yes, all eyes continuing to stare right there at $69,050, as that's going to be that main battleground where the price, now I suppose, now we have more data, it does seem as though maybe there's another little miniature area of resistance that has formed right here. So I wouldn't argue against that at all if you wanted to make the claim that, that's going to be the main area of resistance right now. But even if you are making that argument, well, that's still pretty exciting because as I speak, the price is knocking on that door right now anyways. So if you want to call it, right around the 67,500 mark, followed by the 69,050 mark, either way works. But point here being, everybody can find common ground in the fact of that this thing is knocking on the door of breaking out and potentially going to new all-time highs. So still remains at a very interesting level. As far as supports are concerned, in the very near term, you could, classify that area right there as a support, as that's where it consolidated right there. But just to make this more simplified from the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line. And as long as the price is above that purple line, again, 50-period moving average, then any way you look at it, the bulls are in full control, because in order to stay above that 50-period moving average has a requirement of the price has got to put in those higher lows, which is what it's all about from building uptrends. So that's all I have for you. But even if you're a Bitcoin or crypto trader, then the class tonight will still be completely relevant to you. So definitely go get signed up, and hopefully I'll see you tonight in a few hours. If not, go ahead and send me an email. Thanks for watching. Take care and have a good one.